Should I keep moving?
Go ahead.
Are you ready? Have you gone live on Facebook? Have you gone live on Insta though? Have you been able to leverage the power of the social channel that gives you the access to people who are under 35? Look, Instagram isn't for everybody, but the question is, have you been able to leverage a channel that has the largest demographic of people who are between 18 to 35? If that's your demographic, you want to go live on Instagram, but there's some key things you need to know so that you can break through the noise. And in order to do that, I'm here on Tech Tuesday, and I want to teach you how to go live on Instagram. I'm entrepreneur, social media strategist, and college professor, and I want to say thank you so much for joining us for Tech Tuesday. And if you're watching a replay, thank you, thank you. Today, as I'm teaching you how to go live on Instagram, I have my very special guest, Annie Jimenez. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Now, I want to say, again, this is so special to have you here because we're talking about specifics. How do you go live? How do you break through the noise? How do you get out of paralysis? How do you take action, right? But sometimes I can be a little intense and talk a little fast. So you're here to help slow me down and bring it back to like, but how do I actually do this? Because you want to go live on Instagram, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, tell me this. What stopped you so far from going live on Instagram?
Well, probably it's a little P word, perfectionism. Yeah, it kind of stops me because I think, okay, I got the 52-year-old bags sometimes that show up.
Oh my goodness. Umbrella lighting, umbrella lighting, umbrella lighting. But perfectionism. Okay.
Yeah.
What about technology? Are you feeling comfortable like with a tripod and just putting your cell phone on the cell phone adapter?
I think that doesn't concern me as much.
Okay. So you feel comfortable there. What about the actual buttons in the process to go live? Has that been a concern for you?
Well, with Instagram, yes, because honestly, I've never gone live Instagram, so that's what's so exciting about today.
All right. Well, what if I told you it was just 3 buttons? Isn't that great?
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing? People think Instagram can be so hard, and specifically going live, people think that live video can be so hard. But today we're breaking that myth, and we're busting out and showing you it's 3 clicks to literally be able to go live. Now, Annie and I were chatting before the show, and I was telling her some stuff that I'm going to teach you today. And the first thing you need to know is you don't get to keep your live video on your profile after the broadcast, unless you save it in your stories. And then that only lasts for 24 hours. So is it worth it? And how do you do it is like the second half of the broadcast. But I'm going to cut to the chase and really jump into how to actually go live so that you can see it. And then I'll give you those extra pieces. So the actual go live part is pretty easy. Tell me about what are some of the things you're thinking about in going live? So some topics you could talk about.
Well, first of all, it's interesting you said about the Instagram being a target audience of millennials.
Yeah.
Because really what we have to offer in our business is ideal for a millennial. They're looking for something that will help socially.
Yeah.
They're looking for a cause. They're looking for freedom in their schedule. So I definitely want to reach that group.
And tell us about your business specifically.
Well, I'm an independent consultant with Arbonne International.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, and so it's pretty exciting right now as we're very, very early stages global.
Yeah.
We're just in a few countries, Australia, Canada, UK, Poland we just went into last year, and also, a couple others. So we're early stages, and every year we seem to be going into a new one. And what's beautiful about Instagram and Facebook is that we're able to do that without actually being in that country. Yeah, helping people start up their own businesses. In terms of ingredients, we're above and beyond the European standards. European standards have banned over 1,400 ingredients, and Arbonne has banned over 2,000. So we're a step ahead in marketplace demand. And so I feel like we're in the right place at the right time for millennials as well as baby boomers who are looking to reduce the signs of aging.
Oh my goodness. So the reality is you have so much to be able to talk about. You could talk about the actual products. You could talk about partnerships. You could talk about developments with the company. You could talk about what's going on globally. You could talk about the ingredients specifically and why they are important to be aware of, right? I think there's a big movement of people like myself who are always reading labels.
Right.
So it's really, really important to share that information. So I'm so glad. I think you're an excellent candidate to be able to go live and share your broadcast, share your stories through live stream, and specifically for Instagram because you're going after that younger millennial demographic. So awesome. Now, what would you hope to accomplish by going live on Instagram for your business? What would be a big win for you?
A big win would be the kind of stories I hear person to person. Someone the other day with celiac disease, just using our Digestion Plus with probiotic and prebiotic, has seen all her symptoms disappear.
Wow.
So looking for people, a lot of the younger generation have gut issues and they don't realize that their food is not being absorbed. So even just doing little shares about certain products that are changing people's lives, I think that is crucial. And then people are really, like I said, they're looking for flexibility. So being able to share a business model that doesn't tie them to an office 8 hours a day. People are not wanting that. So I feel like there's a win-win in every way.
So maybe, and a win for you as a business owner would be to have people who'd be interested in the products.
Right.
People who would share their success stories, like having your clients
For
interview
sure.
like this,
Yes.
being able to showcase before and afters and doing images and have people identify as leads either to help you on your team or to be a consumer. So any of those would be really big wins. And then the top of mind awareness and being able to stay in front of your audience, I think would be another big win for you as well through Instagram.
Yes.
So on Instagram specifically, there can be so much noise if you're not careful, right? It's one of those passive networks where people are brushing their teeth, watching a movie, and just scrolling on through, right? So how do you break through and get people to engage with you? That's a little bit of the second half of this, but first, before I get ahead of myself, let's show them how to actually go live. And specifically, I want to show you the 3 magic buttons so you can get these big wins for your company, okay? So I have a phone here so I can actually show you on mobile what it looks like. And what you do is you're actually going to go right into the app itself. You'll see right here, this is the app. You can access the Instagram Live by 2 different ways. So the first thing is you just want to click right on that camera. So up top in the corner, you can see there's just a camera button here. Once you click on the camera icon, it takes you into where you can simply go live. And once you're in this angle, all you do is just hit live here and then start live video. And then you're live. Isn't that great?
It is.
So again, what you do is once you're you hit the camera icon, and then once you're in the camera icon, you'll go ahead and click on the bottom from normal to live, and then hit start video. So in 3 clicks, you're going live. That's the exciting part. So what you need to know are a couple of best practices, right? So once you're live, you just need to be aware that it does tell you how many people are watching, it does tell you who's commenting, and you can't even pin comments. So if you get a really great comment where somebody comes on and says, Annie, oh my gosh, it's so great to see you. Oh, last time I saw you, you gave me my product and I haven't been able to tell you all these wonderful things that happened to me. And people start giving you testimonials, right, on your broadcast. You can actually, you'll see the comment as it comes up on the screen when you're live. And then you just simply hover and hold it, and you can pin it to the top. So everybody who logs on will see those testimonials as they're rolling in.
That's great.
And I know you have tons of testimonials. I've seen them. So definitely pin the comments. That's going to be a big one. You also see how many number of viewers are going to come on and respond back to people. So when we're talking about live video, the number one thing you want to be able to break through the noise and get seen is comments. So how do you get your pop and crop and get in there and do something funny and be okay with messing up a little bit, or be silly, or have a product, or do something, or have a guest, something like that, so you're not just a talking head. That's going to be key, right? And then once you do that, you'll engage with those comments as they come in, and each comment increases your exposure because it shows up in their news feed that they're commenting back through notifications. So that's really always going to be the goal. So on Insta, still, you want to get your comments because it still has an algorithm just like Facebook. So what that means is when people are scrolling on Facebook, they're only going to see the top stories. And so how do you get your content to be considered a top story? You go live. you get right to the top and it pushes a notification to everybody in your audience. Unless they turned off their go live notifications where they tell them when they're live, sure. But other than that, everybody in your audience is going to be notified that you, Annie, are live and talking. I think that's phenomenal. That's incredible top of mind awareness, even if they don't click on the video, right? So those are going to be some of the best practices. But once it's done, once the broadcast ends, you want to make sure you hit save to phone. And it's just right in the upper right-hand corner. Once you end, you hit end, and then you hit save to phone. The reason why you want to save to phone is because you get to repurpose it. And if you had this great video, maybe, okay, it won't pull down your likes and your comments, and when people give you thumbs up, it's just the video, but you can take that and put it onto YouTube. And guess who owns YouTube? The sheriff in town. Google. Google owns YouTube. So if you want to rank on Google and start showing up for Arbonne and people who are in San Diego for Arbonne, go on to get your videos and get them on YouTube, and it gets read by Google. It gets transcribed by Google. It's incredible. So you want to do that. And then if you have an email system that already set up in place for your email contacts, you just tell people, hey, in case you missed it, here's a really cool video where I showed how to apply this cream, or how the before and afters of how this product line helped this client, right? So you want to be able to use that type of content to engage people. And the best way to do it, it kills me to say it as a social media professional, is to go live on social, but repurpose it through email. Email. So I know emails can get as low as like a 12% open rate, sometimes even 3 to 4 if you're not careful, okay? So it's not the silver bullet that's gonna solve everything, but you will see leads and people raising their hand and excited about what you're doing, because the statistic is 85% of people prefer video. So if you know they prefer video, and people retain 95% of video over 10% of written content, then you want to give them what they want. Right. So tell them the good news. It's not salesy. You can hit them up with an email later and tell them to buy the product next week or tomorrow, but that email is not salesy. It's just saying, hey, in case you missed it, here's the good news about this product. Okay? That's great. So you want to make sure you save that video once it's done on your phone, or it's really hard to save it after that. So just save it at the end. All right? Then you want to save it to your stories. Now, why do we want to save it to stories? What do you think?
Stories sell?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and on Instagram stories, you get in the top of people's news feed. So remember, you're competing for eyeballs, right? And the stories on Instagram break through the noise because of the algorithm on Insta. They actually have proprietary space for your stories. So if you're live and you share it, save it as a story, of course you should. It's a no-brainer. It gives you more exposure, and it keeps you pinned to the top of your audience's news feeds for 24 hours. Wow. That's golden, right? That's great. That's great. That's even better than Facebook. Again, the downside is you lose the video. So, I mean, it's a big upside and it's a big downside. So if you're a risk taker, Insta's your way. And if you're on YouTube and if you have an email campaign, then it's a great way to be able to still repurpose the video. You still get to keep it, it's just not on your profile. And because there are video requirements, length requirements on Instagram, you generally can't upload it back onto Instagram. So there's a few downsides there. So I just want to put that out there. But since 2016, when it first came out on Instagram and being able to do the live video, people are still not taking advantage of it. That's why we're doing this, is because people are so intimidated, whether it's the perfectionism, or they don't know what they're going to say, or they don't know who they're going to reach, or they're afraid of whatever it is. Just break through the noise and go live on Insta, and that enables you to get in front of their newsfeed for 24 hours. That's awesome.
That's great. And what is the average length to do? What's a good length?
Yeah, so really good question. So the studies show that 7 minutes is the sweet spot when somebody's going to see a notification that you've gone live and then click into your video. It seems like a big window, but some people I've had, I've coached, will try to go live 2-3 minutes, and then they get off real quick, and they're like, it didn't work. I didn't get leads. Okay, well, first of all, it's a long-term game, but you can get a lead from every single broadcast. I do. I get almost a lead every single time I go live. And it's not just because of Facebook Live, but being able to repurpose, staying on more than 7 minutes, giving people time to engage, responding back to the comments, you know, those type of things. But that 7 minutes is about the minimum, and 7 to 10 is kind of the sweet spot for most people. I would say up to about 20.
Instagram as well as Facebook.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So you want to be able to keep that 7 to 10 minutes on both platforms.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
So thank you. So, okay, so we talked about the real benefit of Instagram Live is that you get to save it to your stories and that you could repurpose the video, right? Now, why would we want to be able to go live on Instagram? Well, again, you get the stories and the best practices, but you get to talk about your niche, right? So these are some of the best practices that we're talking about today. Is yes, it is important to go live, but if you go live without a plan, you'll get mediocre results at best, right? So you don't need to have a big plan, right? I have notes here to go live because I'm going to have a plan and be serious and want to touch on all my points. Maybe yours is a Post-it note and you just tape it to your phone, you know, maybe it's PowerPoint slides and you're guiding that way. Or maybe it's just something you tape to the wall behind your camera and you just do it. However you do it, have a plan on what you're going to say and make sure it connects to your niche. And this is one of the things that we can really talk about, right? So for you, you would have a very different niche if you're going after strategic partners versus if you're going after the end consumer, right? And so each one of those have very specific interests. So create content, and you can reach both niches, but just make sure each broadcast prioritizes one and what they need, so you're not trying to be everything to everybody, okay? Okay. Awesome. Next thing you need to do is set a time. Now, I go live every Tuesday at 3:33 p.m. on Facebook, okay? And that is sticky. People can remember 3:33, they can remember Tech Tuesday, they remember Facebook. It can work. But what you need to do is ideally in a perfect world, I know life is busy, but in a perfect world to really get the power of live video, have that time set aside every single week. So if it's 1 o'clock on a Tuesday, if it's 9 a.m. on a Friday, whatever time it is, you can tell people across your other channels or, you know, do a post about it, remind people, all of those things. So really make sure it's the same time.
Okay.
And do you have a time that works for you?
I'm thinking, I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
Okay. Consider probably a Monday morning.
Monday morning.
Unless that's not a really good
Monday
time.
morning is great. Studies show that people are more willing to make a commitment on Monday than any other day.
Interesting. It's probably their most free day, right?
Yeah. So Monday would be a good day, Monday morning, bring them, tell them the good news. Your Motivation Mondays, you're motivating them to live fully and really embrace their beauty and take control of their financial freedom. Motivate them. Motivation Monday, by far, has been my most popular post across so many industries. Fashion, children's book, real estate, mortgage, lending, whatever. Motivation Monday is the best.
Is it better morning, evening? Is there a time on Monday or does it matter?
It doesn't really matter, It depends on really where your audience is coming from. So if it's the younger demographic and they're going to be at school, that's kind of an obvious parameter. If they're a professional, they actually are on Facebook more right before they go to lunch and right before they go home from work. And you think about it, don't say you haven't done it, as you're counting the clock, waiting for that 5 o'clock to roll around. If you're an Instagrammer, you probably open up your Insta as you're waiting at the bus stop, or if you're waiting at your, to get in the car, or they're bringing your car around, or if you're getting off of work, or that passive time. So right before people get off of work and right before lunchtime is going to be a really good time. So like an 11 or 11:30 would be a really good time for you on a Monday.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. And then you want to use your other channels to give people notice. So if you're on Facebook, tell them on Facebook that you're going to be live on Insta. If you're on Twitter, tell them you're going to be live on Insta. If you're on YouTube, whatever, right? But use those other channels as well. And I'm not above calling somebody. If it's important to your business and it's important they show up and they're going to benefit from this directly, call them up and let them know when you're going to go live.
That's a great idea.
Send them a text. Don't be afraid. Because so often we feel like it's salesy because we don't want to push too hard. But they prefer video.
Right.
So give them what they want, right? It's
Good
not
point.
salesy. You just say, hey, I'm super excited about this. I want to see if you want access to these really great tips. And the best part is they will engage with you because on Insta, the video disappears.
Yeah.
So if that's why they do it, is so that people engage with you more on the video because they have no chance afterwards, right?
Right.
So if you're incentivized to be able to click in and see what they're saying because it's going away. There's that sense of urgency. So being able to tell them, hey, it's going away afterwards. Like honestly, I'm not kidding. I'm going to post it to the stories, but after 24 hours, this broadcast is gone. They'll show up and they'll engage. So Monday at 11, I think is a good time.
Okay, and you wouldn't want to tell them that you can send it to their email later? Because that will lose
Well, because they generally, you want to build up the event. So when you
Right.
go live, it creates an opportunity to have a unique experience where you can engage back with the audience. And in this setting, it's a little bit hard. We have a couple different camera angles. We're not looking right at the screen as the comments come on, so we can't comment back. Not ideal. But when you're live on Insta, you'll see them as they're popping up. And so when you comment back and engage with them, it's going to reinforce them to want to leave more and more comments. So the real push would be if you have questions about the product or if you want to see firsthand, I would love to see you at the special event. So really push the event, and then the repurposing of the broadcast is just an in case you missed it. ICYMI is the acronym.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Learned so many things already.
Isn't this fun? So the next thing you want to do is have some type of visuals. Now, in this case, I have a little fun clapper, and I wrote the name of the broadcast, and I put our names on it. So this is fun, but you could do something and print it out, and just have, or have a flyer, or have your product in your hand. But maybe even type something up that just says the name of what you're going to say, or it just says comment below, or tell me what you think, or a sad face or a happy face. I mean, it could be anything, but those things really make the difference and get the comments. And remember, that's what it's all about, is getting comments, get you seen. And it also lowers your cost of marketing. That's another strategy session. So once you have your promotional visuals, you're also going to rehearse. Now, when we sat down to this broadcast, did we do a full run through end to end?
No, it was just an overview of what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And doing a rehearse is important. Doing rehearsal is important, but don't feel like you have to memorize everything. When you're live, the point is to be ad-libbed, right? So I have my notes in front of me, but again, I'm sitting here talking to you, and I'm not reading what's on the screen. It's just a one-word bullet point that says rehearse. This is all for me, right? So that's the point, is do the rehearsal, especially if you have a guest. Let them feel really comfortable about what they're going to be asked, about what the timing's going to be, all of those things. That's really important. But you don't have to go line for line and say, I say this, and then you say this. But what would be really helpful if you have a guest and they're nervous is you could just go into your camera, go to video, and hit record, just basic record, not live, and then from there, show them how great they look. And your guests will generally be blown away, like, wow, I looked really good on camera. They think they look like this, but they really, I promise they don't, right? So that might be another way to kind of calm the nerves as well in kind of a rehearsal. And then the last thing, well, not one of the last things, but almost, is embrace showing off your quirks. So, like on the beginning of this video, I was kind of dancing around. I was trying to be funny and talk to, my colleagues here, and we went live, and I just kind of lost my word for a moment, and I just kind of went with it, and then just kind of was like, and then just kept going. Who knows, I might have turned bright red even, right? But you just kind of go with it, just embrace it, I had a client today, I'm coaching, and he said, but how much video editing do you do? I said, I don't do any. He says, what if you mess up? I was like, I just keep it there, and I put it on YouTube. People have been so trained by YouTube that we need to have a logo spin in and logo spin out and jump cuts and all these really cool things. But actually live video like this outperforms those type of videos consistently, 10 to 1. Wow. That's a big number. So I don't do any video editing, and if I mess up, you get to see it in the replay. It just is what it is.
That's really interesting. It actually goes with even the Arbonne culture, because we are not to perfect our presentation because we don't want anybody to think they can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole point is you can have a home-based business, actually make a good income and not have to perfect yourself. So that's a really good tip.
Exactly. Embrace it, because people connect when you're human. So that's a really great way for you to be human. Like you said, in your presentation specifically, it's like, let me just engage with you, meet you where you're at and what questions you have. It's not something I have canned. I'm genuinely invested in what we're talking about, right? So that's really a great tip. I like that Arbonne does that. I also want you to check in on your connectivity. So before you go live, just make sure you got at least 3 bars. If there's any less than 3 bars, it's probably going to tell you it won't go live, or you will have delays when you're live. Okay. So if you have a delay when you're live or it goes out, just keep smiling, because when it comes back on, you want to make sure you're smiling and you're not looking like this, when it comes back on. So just breathe through it, but make sure you check your connectivity before. Okay. And then do a quick sound check. You can do that pre-recorded video we talked about, where you just simply say, hey, I talk loud and I talk soft. I talk loud and I talk soft, and then see how it sounds. Just super basic. But it is important to really see if you need to turn your volume up or down. And then be able to create content for people aren't paying attention on Instagram. That's what's really making us different here on Insta versus Facebook and YouTube. Facebook is kind of like Insta in the sense that they're with their friends and family. They don't want long form video. That's why I've already talked too long. We're gonna have to wrap this up because your attention span is much shorter than this. But the
No offense.
right? But the reality is, people's attention spans is actually 8 seconds. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
8 seconds.
I believe
So if you need to connect with people as they're multitasking and they're brushing their teeth and watching a movie and they see you live, how are you going to engage with them? That's why you need props and to pop in the screen and to be funny and embrace when you mess up, because those things are what's going to get people to engage, right? Awesome. And then again, make sure you save your broadcast at the end, and then make sure you get it on YouTube so you get it read by Google. Because who's the sheriff in town? That's right. You know who it is. Google. Google's the sheriff in town. So make sure you get it read by the sheriff so you get credit. And with that, that's it.
Thank you so much.
What questions do you have for me still?
Well, I have a compliment.
Oh.
Because I told her I wasn't going to do this. Oh, I said I was just going to watch it. And she just put me at ease and said, I don't know, here I am.
Here we are. And it would have been totally fine if you wanted to watch, but what I did was what we talked about with the rehearsal. I just showed her simply with the questions I would ask her and explain kind of that I'm carrying 90% of it and that she's here to support and help me really bring it back to what you need to know to be able to apply this. So kudos for getting here and being on camera and being present, and you're just so radiant in being here, and
sweet.
you just shine from within. So it's such a joy to have you on camera with
well,
me.
Thanks so much for inviting me.
Awesome, thank you. And if you want more, stay tuned. Tech Tuesday, every Tuesday on my Facebook, 333 social media Facebook page, and that is at 3:33 p.m. We're going live. So stay tuned for next week, and if you want even more, get ready, because I'm breaking down Gary V's Crushing It on Thursday, YouTube live at what time? 3:33 on Thursday. Join me on YouTube. I'm giving away products, by the way. So this right here, my friend, is a selfie light. If you comment, you're entered to win. I'm giving away selfie lights to everybody who comments on this video. That's not one, but if I get like 15, 20 comments, I'm giving out 15 and 20 selfie lights. So comment and get your selfie light. The next thing is I'm also giving out a dual lapel mic. So this is a lapel mic for 2 people that plugs right into your phone so you can go live with good audio. So this is going to the person who comments the most. So if you want some comments or you want some product, comment on this video. Give us some love. We are so excited to be here, and we'll see you next Tech Tuesday at what time?
3:33.
3:33. See you then. Ciao.
Bye.
We can help you make your social media the best that it can be. Won't you let us help you?